The title of your talk is Race in Higher Education, Why Does It Matter? Could you explain to us why race is important in higher education?
I think diversity is important in education. So if we really believe that we learn from each other through discussion, debate, and talking about new ideas, looking at different perspectives, then actually that's why diversity is important. And there's a lot of study around how diversity is beneficial to innovation and science, for example. And race diversity is crucial in that. So, if we worked with everybody who was from the same background as us, we may not get new ideas, new ways of thinking. Whereas race diversity will give us different ways of thinking, different ways of learning from each other and behavior. I think the university sector is at a crunch point in the sense that, we have seen over the last, decade, the number of black and minority ethnic students rising in the UK. But at the same time, we see a much slower progression of black and minority ethnic staff. So the professoriate is increasingly looking like it's not representative of society today and students today. And students are rightly questioning, why does the academy not look like me? Why are there no role models for me to aspire to? What is the future of higher education? And what future do I play in it? So I think that's why race is really important today.
What actions do you feel are most effective in tackling discrimination and unconscious bias?
I think a lot of universities have training programs, for example, about looking at discrimination, whether it's how the law works or tackling unconscious bias. So what can universities do? And I think training programs in themselves are important, but they need to be sustained. So they can't be standalone initiatives because people, forget what they learn after a while. What is more important, I think, is to embed those training programs within a wider cultural change. So thinking about how the university is addressing those things as a whole, because it's often not the overt that we need to address, it's the covert. So it's the day-to-day behaviors and microaggressions that people face. So if a black member of staff says actually they feel looked over in a meeting, eye contact's not being made with them, their opinion isn't being sought, not to dismiss those experiences, but actually say, well, what can we do to try and address those experiences, as opposed to saying, well, it's a one-off, it doesn't really happen, and not believing those people. So I think the most important thing that institutions can do is to create the space where people can talk about their experiences of race and racism and have frank discussions, because it's often a very difficult topic to talk about and people don't feel comfortable talking about it. And it's about creating the space where people are able to and feel confident and comfortable speaking about it.
What is happening in race equality in the higher education sector at the moment?
I think one of the key challenges and something that the university sector has to really, really address is the degree attainment differential. And by this I mean that white students who enter university are more likely to leave with a first or a 2-1 than their black and minority ethnic peers. Universities are starting to address some of this. So for example, there's a lot of work around, how do we decolonize the curriculum? How do we make the curriculum more inclusive and speak to the different experiences that black and minority ethnic students may have? And I think that's really, really important if we want to think about the role models and the future of higher education, and bearing in mind that the students of today will be the faculty of tomorrow.